This land.
George McGovern, the former senator from South Dakota and the Democratic nominee for president in 1972. He's as much the liberal's liberal today as he was that first Tuesday in November 16 years ago when he lost every state in the nation to Richard Nixon except Massachusetts and the District of Columbia. McGovern is still outspoken, especially about the atrocities of the Vietnam War and about the toll that war took on the American presidency.
I think history will demonstrate that just as the Vietnam War destroyed the great society of Lyndon Johnson and made it impossible for him to run for re-election in 1968, so 4 or 5 years later did that same war and the management of its political fallout here at home destroy the Nixon administration in the Watergate scandals of that period.
This afternoon, McGovern's audience was the American Public Health Association's annual meeting in Boston. But his visit also included a stop by the State House, where he was greeted by state officials and later met with Governor Dukakis.
I told him about a little 8-year-old boy that called me President McGovern the other day, and when I corrected him and told him I was defeated, he says, "Yeah, but you came in second." So I reminded the governor not very many people have a chance to come in second.
George McGovern is the epitome of the L word that Governor Dukakis tried his best to avoid until the last few weeks of the presidential campaign. The former senator says it's time that Democrats stopped being ashamed to call themselves liberals.
I think we need to define liberalism on our terms and not let the opposing candidate do it as George Bush did. He painted a picture of liberalism that nobody can really endorse. But liberalism is social security, it's arms control, it's civil rights, it's the environmental movement, it's daycare centers for the working mothers. It's all those things that I think most Americans now support, and we need to proudly stand on that liberal tradition and then press it to the solution of new problems.
George McGovern, despite his resounding defeat against Richard Nixon in 1972, says he bears no shame for his strong liberal beliefs, and his advice to Democratic Party leaders and Democratic presidential hopefuls like Governor Dukakis is to get off the guilt trip if the party has any hopes of winning the White House in the near future. For the 10 o'clock news, I'm Marcus Jones.